Hi, boys, Ram Nerds. Welcome to another of my Rants. So I've just finished watching the EA press conference at E3. It's your quite typical EA press conference. You know, get the CEO come on, lots of marketing speak, and he goes on and on and on and on for ages about who cares what. Going on about why games are the greatest thing ever. Well, you're at E3, mate. Everybody thinks so. Really, don't need to preach to the choir. Just get on with it. Eventually, though, he pisses off. And we do get on with it, and they go through a few of their games that are coming up. Currently that doesn't always do a lot of stuff for me. A lot of their games I don't tend to touch very much because they're not usually aiming for me. They tend to be sort of sports games. The only one that I tend to stick with is Mass Effect. But then I haven't played Mass Effect Andromeda yet. I'm waiting for it to be finished being fixed. So I haven't touched that yet. But I thought it was interesting. I like watching the conferences, seeing what people come up with, and just sort of getting an idea of what's out there. So the first one they pulled up was Battlefield 1. Now, I have to say, it's a multiplayer game. Don't really touch multiplayer games. I know it's got a single player mode, but a game that's meant to be around multiplayer, I'm not going to buy it just for single player mode. That seems a bit silly to me. I will admit, watching the gameplay for it, it does look awfully fun. It does look something that I would actually enjoy playing if I had friends to play it with. I don't have a lot of mates who play into that at the moment, so I wouldn't be able to play it, but I will admit it does look really, really fun. They announced they're going to be launching basically a new expansion DLC, whatever you want to call it, called the Name of the Tsar. That's coming out in September. Where it plays the Russian army, and I've been the Russians. I'm sure it's going to be full of cool, crazy gadgets. That looked kind of interesting. But I was tempted watching it. I was tempted, should I give it a go? But I know it's going to be incredibly highly priced, so maybe not. Perhaps I'll go with it if there's. I don't know if it's on EA Access or not. I'll give it a go because they've announced EA Access is going to be free all week. So perhaps I'll give it a go then. Next one they pulled up was FIFA 18. Okay, now I'm really interested now because it's a sports game and I don't follow sports at all. I literally skipped through most of it, to be honest. I just didn't understand. These two guys come on, Men in Blazers, I think it was they were called, and they introduced it, and pretty much about 90%, 95% of what they said just went over my head. I had not got the foggiest idea what they were talking about. I'm sure if you're into football, it's probably really important. They might be quite important in FIFA. I don't know. Do they do match of the day? I don't know what they do, but they might be quite important. So if you're into football, I'm sure it's a really enjoyable thing to watch. But yeah, it wasn't for me, if I'm honest. Most people I talked about had no idea. I've heard of Ronaldo. I know he's something in football. I don't know. Is it goalies or strikers they have? I don't know. So I'm just going to move on from that because it's not going to help very much. They then came up with a Need for Speed Payback. Felt sorry for the poor presenter at the very start. I had a bit of a wobble, so I suddenly realised he was talking to several million people and had a moment. He's himself a YouTube creator, so I felt really bad for him. I thought, oh dear. But, happens, just come to us all. I always thought Need for Speed was a racing game. I always thought that it was a clashing of Fast and Furious and it was a racing game, but apparently it looks more like GTA and it looked pretty spectacular. It looked quite interesting, and I could see the sort of interest in sort of having your cars and customising them and sort of souping them up and so forth. I could see where the fun could be in that, but it's not probably for me. Obviously not for me really. Then came A Way Out. This one I was quite interested in. Made by the same guy who did the Brothers game, which I've not played yet. It's on my list of games I want to have a go with. One interesting the fact that you escape. It's about these guys who obviously have to escape from a prison, but then they're not just escaping from prison. It's then getting outside while being free outside. And what was interesting is that he said it's only split screen. It's only co-op. It sounds like you can't play it single player. That I'm not totally against. I like co-op. I used to love playing co-op games. And he seemed to be encouraging couch co-op a lot, rather than online, and he was clearly keen on the idea of couch co-op, and the result from the room clearly meant people liked the idea of couch co-op, the idea of sitting with your mate playing a game together. That's great fun. It's always more fun to be in the same room as somebody playing a game than it's going to be, you know, watching from over the internet or so forth. Those sort of games work well. So I thought the game looked really interesting. Actually, each you play as two guys. You start off in prison. You have to escape from prison, and then you get out and do other things. And it seems to be like a bit of car driving in there, a bit of shooting. And what was really neat was the fact that you could actually still, even when one guy was having a cutscene, the other person could still move around and watch it. That I thought was really quite interesting. Don't know what it means. You can actually in some way interact with the cutscenes, whether you can like, actually walk in and, you know, throw something at the guy and shoot somebody while the cutscene's going on. I don't know if that's possible. It'd be interesting if it was, but it's like an all in-game engine cutscene, which would look kind of cool. So yeah, I was quite interested in that. That'll come on PC. I imagine I'll probably game up PlayStation only, but perhaps I'll grab one of my fellow Rant Nerds presenters and see if one of them wants to play it with me, and perhaps we can do a Let's Play on it. I think that could be quite cool. Then they announced a new Bioware game called Anthem. They're planning to announce more on the Xbox Expo conference a bit later on, which should be in, well, it's 2 PM over there, so in UK time, that's about 9 o'clock tonight. So I'll probably watch that tonight and have a look and see what they announce, and hopefully do another one of these videos later on tonight about that. But I like Bioware games. I know some people sort of lost got a bit tarnished on their name, but from what Bioware games I've played, I've already enjoyed them. Mass Effect being the obvious one. So the idea of a new one really appeals to me. It looked like, from the speed glances, it looks like first of all I thought it was going to be fantasy, but then it's got some sci-fi elements to it as well, so I think it's more sci-fi fantasy, which could be interesting as well, so that looked quite good. We then moved on to NBA. I'm assuming it's a basketball sports game. To be honest, please skip that. No interest in sports. They also early on talked about Madden, which I have even less clue on. I know it's like sort of I know what little I know about like normal football. I know even less about American football. I know it's basically like rugby with a bit of armour, but it's about my limits of what knowledge I know about football, American football, and so forth. So I skip past sports. I'm not interested in those at all. They talked about Origin Access. Apparently it's going to be free a week. I'm going to, shortly after I record this, I'm going to be loading stuff on the computer and having a look and see if anything's interesting on there. I suspect it's going to be like multiplayer components only. I don't suppose they're going to have much in the way of other games, but there might be some cool stuff on there, so I'm going to have a look later and see what's on there. And they finally finished the whole thing off with their big announcement, which took off the majority of the time of the show, which was Battlefront 2, which is a Star Wars game. Apparently they said they listened to the feedback of the Battlefront players from the last game. Apparently everyone was going about the lack of a story mode, and it's got a full story mode that's going to bridge the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Again, I'm not a great this is trivia. I'm not a great fan of most of the things they do. I'm not a great sports fan. I'm not a great Star Wars fan. So I'm really struggling with this. And they finished up between. I've got Splitsing Cup as well. They finished up with. Before I go on to that, very interesting. They announced they're going to have free updates for it, which for EA is amazing. The idea they're going to give stuff away for free. That's just like, I remember the days when you used to buy, you downloaded content and you only got it for 6 months. And they did it from your account. I remember those days. Now they're actually going to give content away for free. That's impressive. Of course, they'll probably change and you have to pay like £10 a month to get on Origin. But the content will technically be free. Maybe. You never know. That actually looked really quite fun. I was watching them play. Again, it's a multiplayer game, so not something I'll probably touch, but watching the guy, they finished off their conference with actually having a match. Well, the guys played the game. Yeah, the two teams of 20 actually playing the game, including one of the voice actors from the sequel. I don't know what she did. And it looked really cool. It's a typical sort of dice type game. Ground combat, actually third person mainly. They had ships as well, flying around ships, a bit of dogfighting, some cool dogfighting going on. The battle shows like this 3-stage battle. So they had like the robots against the stormtroopers or stormtroopers. I might be getting terminology wrong here. I'm sorry. And the robots had to guard this floating tank, as it got into it sort of they guided through streets and it blew a hole into this palace. The robots assault the palace, defeat and attack the clones, and then they eventually had to take and seize this control this throne room. They showed off the battle point system where as you go on you can basically like buy vehicles to use. So from what I gather, the vehicles that you fly about were bought with battle points. Same with robots and special characters. So we had Darth Maul in there with his double lightsabers spinning around, killing everything. You had Rey from Force Awakens in there as well, shooting, blasting things as well. I'm no Star Wars fanatic, but I thought they were quite different. I thought they were different eras and quite far apart, but perhaps there's no limit. They can have any character you want, which could be interesting, but could be Star Wars anachronisms, but could be quite interesting. I have to say, it actually looked, again, as it looked really quite fun. Still probably not enough for me to actually consider buying it. If I had a group of mates who are all going to play it, then I might well give it a go, but in general, as a multiplayer game, I'm not going to touch it. But it did look really quite interesting, so maybe something to give a go to. That about wraps it up for both their conference as well. I'm hoping to do more of these videos based on the other conferences. So there's going to be the Microsoft one tonight, or the Xbox conference is probably better known as, and I'll be interested to see what they announce. I doubt it'll be anything majorly PC focused on that. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, and I've got the E3 schedule, which is a shame that the conference is 7 hours behind where I live, so most of the things happen overnight, so I want to, and unfortunately I work, so I won't be able to watch most of those, but I'm hoping to catch the, I might see if I can do the Bethesda one tomorrow morning. But there looks to be some interesting things coming up, so I suppose that's me over. Thank you much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, I hope you like to subscribe, and if not, perhaps please catch me on some further further thoughts and videos. And if you've got anything else, by all means, drop in the comments and we'll have a chat, and I'll see if I decide if I think about it, or members probably better thing to say, if I'm meant to actually look, I'll have a chat with you about it. So I've been TheSuffolkRam. Thank you much for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you on a future one. Thank you very much.